Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. And today on my series of DIY, it's varnishing the doors. Now, in the last episode, you'd seen me sanding down the doors, getting them ready for varnish. Now in this episode, what we're going to be doing is preparing that door ready to put that varnish on. Obviously we've done the sanding and now we need to do a little bit more work to it. But before we go any further, at the same time as varnishing that door, we're going to be doing a top coat on this one. Because remember, I said in my last episode that this one has been actually finished with the one coat of varnish. And we're going to be doing a second coat on it. And now I'm going to show you what we're going to do to get this prepared ready. But before we do that, let's have a look at all the ingredients you need for the job. Oh, sounds like a baking video. Let's get on with it. So first and foremost, you need your varnish. Now you can use any type of varnish. Now this is a oil-based varnish, so you do need to clean brushes off with white spirit. Basically, it goes off very slowly. Now if you go for something fast, you can do if you want. If you want to go for water-based, that's up to you. That's your choice. Now also, I'd recommend getting yourself a pack of these short pile rollers because this makes your job much easier. And obviously your roller and your tray is probably very, very important. Once again, for the top coat, we're going to be using something like 400 sandpaper, or you can go for 320. I'll show you what we're going to be using these for in a minute. The ladle is really good for getting your varnish out of the tin. You got your cloths, stirring stick and a brush. That's basically just to cut in more than anything. Sanding block and a tack cloth, which is very useful. And also, essentially to the job, you need that vacuum cleaner or one like it, especially with that type of end on it. This is to get rid of any bits of wood and anything, dust and stuff. It's very useful, that. Well, that was the ingredients we needed to do the job. Now let's have a look and see what we're up to next. Now before we go any further, one big tip, a very important thing is, normally when you're doing this type of job, you do all the doors together. You wouldn't do them bits and pieces like I've done them. This has been done for your benefit only. I mean, this is going for a finish and that hasn't even had a coat of anything on there, but just a lick. So let's have a look at the finished job. And this is basically to do with the top coat. And I'll show you exactly what we're going to be needing to do with that door, because this is probably important. We'll get round to this one in a minute. So what we do need is your sanding block. This is a 400 grit. So now I'll show you what we're going to do to this door. Now I have actually done this bit for you. So you can see that I've actually finished that part off. So this has actually been sanded. Now what we're trying to do is we're getting rid of this, like, I don't know if you can see this very well, but these little gritty marks. I'll get up a bit closer. There you go. Can you see them? So all we're going to do is remove these little bits of bubbles and stuff, odd rubbish. I mean, for some reason that's gone like that, but normally it doesn't. So I've done this bit of sanding down here already, so that's actually nice and smooth. And also, you may come across the odd run mark. So with the sandpaper, I'll show you exactly what we're going to be doing to get rid of that run mark. And all we're going to do is this. But obviously you need to work a bit harder here. So now slowly go. But you keep doing that until you lose that run mark. And then the same with the bubbles up the top here. You can see the bubbles now. And then what we do is just a light sand over the top. And it's almost like you're feeling grit under it. And you get a drift on that. And slowly, by surely, they'll disappear. Right, so I'm going to get on with that door and then we'll come straight back Once we're ready to do all the varnishing, we'll do it all together. So we'll get right on with the job. Just keep going up and down the grain. So you're following that grain all the way down. When it comes to these pieces round here, you don't have to be too much fussy with these, because they are going to be a bit more rougher than the rest of it, because that's, you're not going to worry, you're not going to see too much of it. But all you want to do is put a gentle bit of sanding on there, just on that edge. So you've just got it in there, just a little bit of sanding on that edge. It's just for the varnish to bite. Same up there, just a little bit, just to get that varnish to bite to the paint, to the varnish underneath, like that. And just the same at that edge. And you can feel where you haven't been, and if there's any nibs left, you'd feel them. Like you can feel some there. And that run mark, a little bit more on that run mark. So before I do the bottom part of the door, I'll show you what I do to the top. Vacuum cleaner. And just take out all the dust. And then you get your tack cloth, and this will pick up any other little bits that you've got lying about on it. Straight down the lines, across, just keep going down the grain, like that, working anything you've got down to the bottom. And then once you get into here, just make sure there's nothing in there. So you've collected it. If there's anything, it'll be in there. At this stage, all you're now concerned about is if you've left anything on there, because this is your last chance really before we put the next coat on. So if you do find anything you're not happy with, this is the time to get it off. So at least you're going to have a good check round and see. Yeah, it's not too bad. That feels beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, fine. And the best way of finding out is with your hands, because, you know, your hands are quite, even if they're rough, you'll pick up anything hard if it's stuck to the surface. So I'll just finish the rest of that door off, and we'll come back and we'll see what the next stage is. Well, there you go, folks. Now you saw in that bit of footage I've just done. I've done round all the doors, gave it a good sweep, vacuumed the floor, tacked it all off. Job's a good one. So to get that like high class finish, you really need to do that. And if anything, wash the floor down if you want to. But I'm not going to bother. This is a YouTube studio, so I'm not as bothered as I'm somewhere else. But nevertheless, now on this door, we're going to start with, so okay, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Steve, but you need to do that one first over there. No, I don't. I'm going to start with the finish, because obviously this is the finish. It's funny, starting with the finish before you've done the what? Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but believe me, I'm doing it this way round because obviously this door is ready and it's finished. So just prior to actually putting your varnish on, we'll just give another tack cloth over just to make sure there's nothing that's floating around has just dropped on it. Because you never know, because whilst we're talking, there could still be dust in the air and it'll come down and drop down onto that surface and it could spoil it for us. A good idea is to get your gloves on, because you do not want to get this stuff on your hands unless it's a water-based product, and then it's okay. But this particular one, you can only use white spirit. So pop the lid. Make sure there's no dust or rubbish on that. It's fine. Don't want to pick up any dust. Give it a good stir around. And just make sure everything is off the bottom of the tin. Obviously I've been using this quite regularly, so it's quite well stirred anyway. Try not to get bubbles in that, because if you get bubbles in there, you'll get bubbles on your door. That's fine. So just wipe that off with a brush, like that. Now, a good little tip is to get your brush, put it in the varnish and move it about like this. That's to make sure you get plenty of varnish in your brush, and then wipe it off on the edge. And sort of like do that a couple of times. And that's ready. What we're going to do is put our varnish into our tray. Like I said, it's almost like doing soup, isn't it? That's that. And once again, get your brush, just brush it off like that. And good tip is just to pop your lid back on. Now, this amount of varnish will go quite a distance. You need your roller. And I prime this first. Just pop it in and just prime it up a bit. So you can see that's on there, can't you? Now we'll move over to the doorway. The main place of these type of doors, if you've got another type of door, it's different. But with this type of door, always start round in these first. Always do these areas first before getting onto this. To be honest, I went to college and was taught that, but I couldn't tell you what reasons was. But believe me, it always seems to be better. And if you get any runs, they usually land down the bottom here. So what's good is you can just wipe it away with the brush. So once again, start round these, or you can start in the center and do these next. But I like to go round, hit this first, then do the centerpiece. Do all four first, and then we move on to these sections. I tend to do this one, and this one, and then I do these. Or you'll see what I'm doing. So once again, get your tack cloth on, just tack it up a bit, just to make sure nothing's actually come. It should be fine. Right, so what we're going to be doing, obviously hold this. If you've got too much in varnish, then you could spill it, but I'll put my glasses down because I like to see the detail. Old age and all that, you know. Right, so I start with the little bits of the edges first. Just making sure you get round. I won't worry about putting too much varnish on this little bit because it'll come to its own. Right, and that's that. Once this is the fun and games, just prime up your roller. Try not to get too much varnish on it, but do make sure you are covering. Start from the bottom and work upwards. Just make sure it's going on the door, nice and even. And then just pop round the edge like that. Okay, just make sure everything is covered. See, I'm not using much varnish at this stage. And then you just get your brush around about 45-degree angle and just go straight up like that. Up the edges. And if you've got any stuff running down here, just off like that. And that's it. And it's all, and you can just check to see if you've covered everything. Yeah, that looks fine. Because you've got good light in here. Well, I'll move on to this one. So this once again, go around your edges. Like that. Get into those corners. It's that simple. Once again, with your roller, just prime them up. Start from the bottom and work upwards, like that. Just make sure you're covering the whole of the panel. Making sure it's nice and even all the way along, up the edge, across the top, down the side, and down here. Just check that you have covered everything and you're happy with it. Again, around about a 45-degree angle, straight up, or you can go down if you want. And just check what you've done. And then recheck this one, just to check you haven't got no stupid little run marks coming down or anything. But if you put enough paint, if you put enough varnish on, you won't have that problem. So I'll move on to the bottom ones. So I'll show you exactly what I normally do. I've done that for your benefit, so I'll show you exactly what I normally do when I'm doing it myself with no videos. In the corners. Round, just make sure it's all in. Going round this one, just get it all into that corner. Just get your roller. Once again, brush up. So while we're down here, since we've done all those four, we'll get straight on with these. In fact, I'll probably do these first. Well, it don't matter. It's whilst I'm down here, I'll just do what I can see for you guys. Now straight down to the bottom. Like that. Straight away, same way with your brush. Stroke straight across, around about a 45-degree angle, like that. I'll do this one the same. Make sure you got it right across the wood. Again, 45-degree angle. Now I'll do this one whilst I'm down here. And once again, 45-degree angle. Your roller across the top. It's almost like rolling a wall. Get your brush, 45-degree angle. Let's do it from the bottom. Once again. Now with these side bits, you go from the top to the bottom. So you start rolling at the bottom, then we go to the top on both sides, and then you do the same with the brush. Now you do have a few little obstacles this time. If you go to halfway, and then just make sure you've covered everything. And fill your roller up again. And do the other part. I'll do something critical like I've just done, straight over the paint. Get it straight off, because it will stain. Right, that's that. From the bottom, just make sure you go round, like that. Turn your brush round and do the same again up to the top. And then we'll do the same this side. Panels are much easier to do. Straight up to the middle, and again, just turn your brush over. That's that. So there we go. It's as simple as that. Well, there you go. That was simple, wasn't it? Now you do exactly the same as I did there on this door. Start from round here once again. Now just remember, because it's a little bit more drier, it will suck up the varnish. And this is where I was saying with the first coat, it's very important to get it on well. And you can actually effectively sand it back if you've got any problems with it. So you're all right there. But with this one, you can start from the inside of the door or the outside. It's up to you which way around you want to do it. I tend to think it's better to do the inside first. Then I just prop the door open and then I can do this side. And then once again, you just do around the edges with your paintbrush. It's that simple. Well folks, if you like this type of video, please subscribe and please share. Now don't forget to check out the playlist, because obviously I've got a full-blown playlist on painting and decorating. Also, I've got a playlist on flooring. Now, I'll be just finishing off this door with a silent video with a bit of music. And we'll see you again very shortly on the Crazy Baker channel. Laters! This is the Crazy Baker Unleashed channel. Cars. Honest reviews. DIY. Toys. And behind the scenes of all the crap I buy. Old school memorabilia. Please subscribe and please share. Laters!